Lady and gentlemen, welcome to BOTSWANA Television.
Thank you very much.
Should I start with you? Re Sapula, the CEO, tell us about this organization, this body of DFRC.
Sure, thanks. So the institution was created in 2003, and the whole purpose of the institution is essentially to support the development finance institutions within the region to help them to achieve their mandate, which is essentially economic development for the SADC region. We focus on three main areas. One is capacity building, which is strengthening the DFIs. Two is resource mobilization, finding money for infrastructure projects and industrial development in the region. And the last thing is influencing policy and research within the region as well.
Okay, and then tell us about July 3rd, 2025. The gathering, that August gathering that you had of CEOs or those regional bodies. What really animated the gathering?
Sure. So the gathering was essentially for us to launch our new strategy. For the longest of time, we'd focused a lot on capacity building. And the idea was, how do we migrate from just doing capacity building to really fully doing what we're supposed to do? And we launched that, and we discussed a few elements, obviously, that came out of that, which were really quite important. One of which is the development of regional finance development institution, because we don't have a regional development bank in the region. Why we don't have it, why we need it, and what are some of the key elements that need to happen. We spoke about very important things, which are governance and how each of the DFIs need to ensure that they have good governance to be able to mobilize resources for the region as well. But it was a very well-attended event with the CEOs from the DFI institutions, and it was a good launch for us to actually launch ourselves into the new era of what development finance institutions' role should be in the coming future.
Before I come to Our Lady here, I know that it was the financial officers or executives that were present in this gathering, but you obviously cannot ride solo. You do need political will, for example. In attendance, who did we have besides the financial experts and executives?
Sure, we had invited the executive secretary of SADC because we are a body that falls underneath SADC, and he really represents the political structures within the region. We also, from Botswana, we'd invited the Minister of Minerals and Energy, as well as the VP. Unfortunately, both of them couldn't make it, so they sent a representative to speak on their behalf. But it was really great, and what you're saying is really quite important. Yeah. You cannot have development without policy and without government. And you need that working together between DFIs and government to actually make things work.
And going forward, you'll be yoked together. You'll be clubbing efforts to ensure that whatever your dreams, your aspirations, the strategies you want to put forth, they'll come to fruition. That's the point?
Yeah, that's the point. So the idea is to have a better collaboration. So one of our key strategic pillars is smart partnerships. And that's partnerships between DFIs, government, as well as not just governments, but as well as multilateral development finance institutions as well. So one of the key things we did talk about was what role government plays in terms of working together with DFIs and creating very important strategic plans that we can actually help in implementing as well.
Thank you, thank you. My lady, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'm trying to show our viewers that I've had an encounter with you, and perhaps we are blood, but it's okay. Let's be professional now. You are the senior capacity building officer with SADC DFRC. Maybe if you can explain for us the capacity building mandate in the region, and also highlight the importance of capacity building for development finance institutions in the SADC region.
Okay, thank you for the question. I work for SADC DFRC as a senior capacity building officer, and my responsibility centers around strengthening the capacity of the DFIs. We've got 42 across the SADC region, and they differ in terms of sector, what their mandates, what they focus on. We've got those that have got industry mandate. We've got those that have got SMME industry mandates, driven in corporations are like like BDC.
BDC, Botswana Development Corporation, which is the
Botswana
investment arm.
Yes, BDC.
Okay.
So we have a number of those similar ones across the region. We've got those ones that are focusing on SMMEs, and those ones are like the CEDA that we have that finance SMMEs, and they are across the region as well. We've got those that focus on agriculture.
Okay.
Like NDB here. So we have
different sectors.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we have the same across the region. And we've got those that focus on infrastructure, and
Okay.
that'll be the likes of BHC. So, like I said, our role is really to capacitate them and then strengthen them through capacity building. So what I do is I would obviously collaborate with the DFIs and identify their needs in terms of what do they need, in terms of policy, in terms of their systems, and also in terms of the frameworks as well. So I'd collaborate with them and find out the needs, and obviously build a curriculum, obviously basing on the needs that they have, and ensure that we have facilitation. We work with industry experts who are able to deliver different programs that are able to perform research for us, who are able to harmonize or develop or review policies. And then we, depending on the needs of the DFIs, we would then go to them and find out exactly where the needs are, and like I said, build a curriculum in that line.
Do you have, pardon me for interjecting there,
Okay.
do you have successful capacity building initiatives within the DFRC? Are there any challenges? If these are there are challenges there, how are you trying to overcome these challenges and so on?
Yes, as DFRC, we're coming up with dynamic and very interesting ways of actually delivering capacity building interventions. One of them is what we call master classes. We've delivered quite a number of them this year. One was on the role of leadership on driving culture and transformation, and the other one was on trade finance. We're here to deliver one on carbon credits. And these are the topics. We select topics that are actually that address emerging trends within across the SADC region. And we also have programs, like full programs that would, such as we just delivered a program on the one that we delivered in Joburg. ESG. We just delivered a program on ESG that helps to manage environment and social risks.
Okay.
So and we are yet to deliver
and maybe
others
the
as
question is, are we headquartered here as SADC DFRC, or which country are you headquartered in? I know you are representing the region, but where do we find you?
We're very lucky to be hosted by the Botswana government. So we currently sit here in Gaborone.
You're in the CBD?
Yeah, we're in the CBD.
Okay.
And it's really been great. If there's one thing I can say is thank you to the Botswana government for hosting us. Okay. And I think it's a very good place to be, and in terms of being based, for us to be able to have an impact on the region. It's a small population, but with a huge impact on a bigger region of more than 340 million people.
Let's talk about the 402 billion annual investment gap. A staggering gap. What really happened here? Where did we go wrong? How are we going to bridge this gap? These are huge quantums we're talking about.
Yeah, so it is a huge amount, and you are right. A lot of things we could have done better, but a lot of this is infrastructure gaps. If you think about the population of the region, it's been growing over the past few years. If you take South Africa as an example, since 1994, South Africa's population has grown from roughly about 30 million to over 60 million. And then if you take that into the context of the entire region, it's grown at a similar pace. What has happened, though, is that our infrastructure has not grown in a similar pace. Okay. So now we are lagging behind from that infrastructure, number one. Secondly, not only are we lagging behind, but the future demands of our infrastructure requirements have also grown. I'm sure you've heard about critical minerals and industrialization of those minerals. If you think about that, how are you going to get those minerals to the port? How are you going to do all of that? And that requires infrastructure, and that's the future gap that we need to fill. So what I really think that is important is the role that DFIs play to assist in closing that gap, because it's a dynamic relationship between the DFIs and the government to help do that. The DFIs can help in mobilizing funding, not just locally, but also internationally, and working together with government, close that gap where commercial banks can't play. So they would de-risk and do the early stage development of projects to fast track the delivery of infrastructure.
Okay.
And most importantly, do this on a programmatic basis, because we like doing things one by one in the region, but if you do it on a programmatic basis, you're actually able to scale and be able to do it with speed as well as with scale, as I mentioned.
And doing it a bit more methodologically.
That's
you talk
right,
about infrastructure, and I know that there's road, there's rail, there's air.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have enough infrastructure in terms of ferrying goods and encouraging that intra-trade within the SADC region?
We don't, actually. If you really think about it, we rely a lot on road transport. I mean, if you just go to the border right now, if you go to the Dikgang border, and you see the number of trucks that are lined up there, you see kilometers of trucks. And you ask yourself, why don't we have efficiency in our borders, right? Two is, why do we see so many trucks on the road? Why can't we use rail?
Yeah.
Botswana Rail, I know they've been doing a lot of work trying to revive the Trans-Kalahari project.
Yes, yes.
To try and get that
I
up and running.
spoke about it with the minister about 2 weeks ago.
And yeah, and that's such a great initiative, because what it really does is that it really opens up the trade routes. I mean, we've been talking about the North-South corridor, which essentially links 7 different countries within the SADC region, and then with the corridors, the central corridors and the likes of the Lobito corridors also helping in doing that. And these are some of the things that we really need to do to actually make this thing better. Without that, we can't do much.
Thank you. My lady, let's talk about your vision for the future with regards to capacity building within the SADC DFRC framework. But before maybe we get there, let's talk about how we can get the DFIs and other strategic stakeholders to get involved or benefit from the DFRC capacity building programs.
Okay. I think we are appealing to the DFIs to collaboratively work together so that we can be able to address the challenges that they're facing. We're not only appealing to the DFIs, we offer our programs at highly subsidized fees. We're also appealing because our programs are also available to public and to government as well. And they're actually available at highly subsidized fees, as I mentioned. So we're appealing for we're appealing for partnerships, because one of the challenges that we're actually experiencing is the fact that there are financial limitations, and sometimes our DFIs are not able to fully participate into our programs. So we're appealing for collaborations so that we can make our capacity building interventions available. Those that can sponsor, and the facilitators as well, the industry experts, we could collaborate and work together and co-create capacity building interventions of tomorrow. That's what we're appealing for. But the vision is to have a digital platform and a well-connected network that can help to drive facilitation.
So we need to up our digital infrastructure alongside other infrastructures.
So we're actually also thinking of an academy, but we actually have started working on creating a digital academy where we'll be able to assist both the DFIs and beyond the DFIs in the future.
Okay. Yeah. I want you to give us a sum total of SADC DFRC, looking into the future. What should we expect? The takeaways from the gatherings that you've been having in just under a minute, please.
Yeah, sure. So one of the key things that we're really focusing on, as Maipelo has already mentioned, is creating a development finance academy, which will essentially be able to assist and create a platform for everyone to actually create DFI professionals. That's what we really want to do. And the second thing that we really want to focus on is creating a pipeline of bankable projects for the region. So one of the key elements that SADC Secretariat has given us is to focus on creating a pipeline of bankable projects, which is really number one in terms of our delivery that we have to do. Then the third thing, which is really quite important, is resource mobilization. If we think about how much funding we need, we spoke about the $402 billion gap that we have. How do we effectively mobilize resources for that? And that requires a play between government, private sector, and the DFIs to work together and actually be smart about how we partner, jointly create the future that we want. The biggest idea is we really want to dream big, but jointly create the future that we all want.
Thank you so much, both of you. I sense great ambition here, that you're robust and you're bullish in your strategies and creating and charting a future course for this particular region. Before we part, we don't have time. Zweli Banzi, what does that mean?
It means the world's your oyster. I always say it means the world's your playground. So I love playing out there in the world, and that's what it means.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wish we had time. Thank you so much. Until we meet again, all the best.
Thank you.
Well, that's it. That's it. Now we move on to the 7 o'clock SETSWANA news.
Morocco 2022 was our first chapter.